So hi everyone, I'm Dana, Shirley and Dan's 10th child. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other sentiments shared. I've seen so many great tributes that probably can't be put into words by me, of all people. My main thing that I want to say is well done, my good and faithful servant. That may be repeated throughout this video or live stream over and over again. Shirley was my mom, and I truly believe she was the perfect person that God has blessed so many of us with. The perfect person especially that pulled together a family of plenty of imperfect people, and truly is what grounded us and provided us the strong roots that this family tree withstood many, many storms. So I just want to try to express appreciation, gratitude, respect, all those things for what her yes meant to me and then the future branches of this family tree. One little quick thing from Mom's dad was the poem, The Little Peach in the Orchard Grew, that our grandpa taught us. And it went a little bit throughout the poem. Mom would change the words, and instead of John and Sue, it was Tommy Grimes and his sister Sue, to Shirley May and Dana Lou. And we would recite that because she knew I remembered that from her dad. And one of the ending verses was, under the turf where the daisies grew, they planted Shirley May and Dana Lou, and up to where the angels were, their souls flew, or something along those lines. And it ended with boo-hoo. So we thought. So I was looking for that poem, and I found out there's another verse that we never did know. And it's very fitting for me to read that verse. I don't know it by heart, but similar to something along these lines. The final verse of Grandpa's poem that Mama and I was, oh, whatever happened to that peach of emerald hue, warmed by the sun and kissed by the dew? Ah, well, its mission on earth is through. I do, I do. Shirley May, you made my day. Much love, Dana Lou. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Peggy. I'm actually the middle child. They're 5 older and 5 younger. Was known as the first New Orleans baby. It's hard for me to put into a few words a lifetime of love, laughter, and teachable moments. I've gained so much from just being Shirley Levy's daughter, and I just go back to earliest memories of her starting each day with Mass, and that was something that a very important lesson in my life, that she put God first in everything that she did, from worrying about the children to making major decisions to things that she did not understand, and she would just put it in God's hands. We spent many times laughing uncontrollable like little children, where we would sit and giggle. I come up with several stories where I have many teachable moments that she did for us, and one of them goes back to when she took care of her parents. It was something of just giving of herself, and she taught us the value of family and nurturing of family, the gifts that we get from our service to others. We serve God by serving others. Okay, stop. I'm rattling.
But that's okay. No, that's good.
Yeah, it's not. My mother has touched many generations, and I didn't realize this till the messages I've been getting from my friends who are telling me that their mom, who were with her at Sacred Heart, and how much she meant to them. And then it goes all the way down to my grandchildren who were so upset with her passing. Just little things, driving through City Park and having my grandchildren in the car while we admired the beauty of the oak trees, and to have our 5-year-old granddaughter, Marguerite, from way in the back seat say, when my mom's old, I'm going to take her riding around looking at trees too. And it was just something that has touched us all.
Hi, I'm Shirley. I am number 7 of the 11 children. I am sure you've heard many, many good things about Mama. I'd like to share maybe a different point that others haven't shared yet. As a child, we had great fun in our family. It was not unusual after dinner to have spontaneous dance parties around our kitchen table, which was big enough to seat 22 people. So it was a pretty big dance floor going around that table. And Pops would often put on his South Rampart Street parade album, and he'd hand out paper napkins and teach us how to second line. Always making sure that we knew that we had to dance like as if the inside of our thighs were chapped. That was the proper way to second line. My favorite song that we would dance to was When the Saints Go Marching In. Probably because we could sing along. There were words to it and we could sing, and it was an easy song to dance to. It had good rhythm. Wasn't until a few years later that the New Orleans Saints football team was born, and then that song became like emblazoned in our family. Mama would often use that song to teach us that we are all called to be saints, to live holy lives. She said we might not ever see a church named St. Shirley or a holy medal that says St. Peggy, or even a holy statue of St. Casey. But we were called to live lives that were holy and saintly. She was our role model in that, in how she lived her life. At an early age, she used to walk to Mass at St. Anthony. She just loved the Blessed Mother. She had a very deep relationship with her. It was probably because, like Mary, she had a very childlike, simple faith where even though she did not always understand God's plan, she trusted him. She knew that he was her dad and that he loved her and he was never going to abandon her, and that was good enough. So whatever his will was for her in her life, she didn't run from it. She embraced it and asked for him to give her the strength to live it out. When the angel Gabriel appeared to Mary and told her that she was going to be the mother of God, she didn't understand his plan, and yet she trusted. And her first words when she went to go see her cousin Elizabeth to help her out, she started glorifying and praising God. And she said, "My soul magnifies the Lord, and I find joy in God my Savior." Well, that's what Mama did in her life. She magnified the Lord in the way that she lived her life, and joy just exuded from her. Whether it was her yes to the number of children that God was calling her to have, her yes to taking in her elderly parents and caring for them for many, many years, her yes to going to teach at Mount Carmel when she was asked to go teach religion there. She ended up being there for 25 years teaching religion and helping to foster a personal relationship with Jesus with all the students. But probably her biggest yes of not understanding God's plan and trusting it was when her soulmate, Pops, after 68 years of marriage, was called home. Yes, she would say often to us, "Why did he have to go away and leave me?" But that was really just her way of saying, "I miss him." Because she would also often say that she knows that he's with the Lord, and that she looks forward to the day when she can also go be with him, with Jesus and Mary. I think often we say our motto is that Pops and Mama left us the motto of faith and family, and I would agree with that. But I would have to say that Mama's personal motto was her great Magnificat that she gave, that her soul magnified the Lord and that she found joy in God, her Savior. And I think that she is asking us, as she departs from her earthly life, she is asking us, does our soul magnify the Lord? Do we find our joy in Him? Or we live in the holy, saintly lives that she tried to teach us was important. So, Mom, here's to you. I'm sure Dad and all the angels and saints have the handkerchiefs, and they are second lining because they are welcoming the newest saint that's marching into heaven. Go dance for eternity. I love you.
My name is Pat. I am the third child from Shirley and Dan Levy, the last one born in Germany. When I was born, Germany asked us to leave the country. So, first of all, I want to thank everyone who can join us for this extraordinary event. It means so much to have you share in our mother's services today. I wish to thank all my brothers and sisters for their unbelievable accomplishments in pulling this off. With that said, I have a few thoughts passed on from my 3 sons and wonderful daughter-in-laws. Mama, you and Pops always instilled positivity and the importance of family into us. We learned so much from you throughout our lives, and as sad as it is now that you are gone, we know you are at peace and happier with Pops, the man you started this incredible family with. Love you, Patrick, Kelly, Cameron, and Ella. Mama, you always amaze me how you raised 7 beautiful girls and 4 bad boys and still always kept you cool and always had it together. Even with all that, you found time to take care of your mother like your kids did for you. I am happy knowing that you are enjoying time again with one of the greatest men I knew. I am forever grateful of the faith you have instilled in all your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. We will miss you always, smiling face, and the tunes you could hit while playing that piano. Love always, Jeff, Suzanne, Callie, and Campbell. Mama, I've never known anyone genuinely loved by more people than you are. You dedicated your life to growing and helping your community through faith, family, and generosity. Your life was a sublime example of how we should strive to live. You will be greatly missed. Love, Scott, Melanie, and Muriel. Mama, what a true blessing in all our lives. Her faith was such, let me start that over again. Mama was a true blessing in all our lives. Her faith was such a strong influence on all her family and everyone that she knew. She touched a lot of people with her great attitude and outlook on life. Her spirit will live on through all of us. Mama was the most uplifting person we knew. She lifted us with strong, positive beliefs. Now she is in heaven with her two favorites, God and Pops, looking down and smiling on us. She was an angel on earth. We love and miss you, Patrice and Patrick.
I'm Jamie Owens.
And I'm Jordan Owens, and we are here on behalf of our mom, Terry, number 9, who isn't feeling well right now, and the rest of the Owens family. Mama, you have been such an inspiration and great influence, not only to us, your grandchildren, but your children as well. We were blessed to have you and Pops live with us after Katrina, and then had you over for dinner every other Monday for the past 6 years. We thoroughly enjoyed spending time with you, listening to stories about you and Pops' lives together, and the beautiful family y'all have created. I especially enjoyed all of our sing-alongs to Fiddler on the Roof and Sound of Music. Your continuous yes to Jesus and all of the sacrifices you made are a true example of the love you have and devotion you had for your family.
And I know my mom and dad enjoyed taking care of you, and I remember Mama cracking up telling me how she was giving my dad a blanket one time because he would sleep on the couch when he was here. And when he opened up the blanket, it was actually a tablecloth. And she was cracking up, and it was just so precious because it was those simple things in life that gave Mama so much joy in her later years. And I remember coming home from nursing school, and I had my LSU nursing sweatshirt on, and Mama would always say, "LSU nursing? Are you a nurse? Did you know I was a nurse in training once at Hotel Dew, but I left to make my own nursery at home with my love." We love you, Mama and Pops, and we miss you very much. We are so blessed to have the best angels looking down on us now.
We love you, Mama.
Hi, I'm Tim Levy. I am Shirley's 8th child. I'm the baby boy. I am the thorn amongst the roses. I have 4 older sisters, 3 younger sisters, so they always referred to me as the thorn amongst the rose. And my mom certainly made sure that the thorn got plenty of love and attention, so it was always very much appreciated. We certainly have heard a lot of stories and tributes, and I'm sure I have hours of stories to tell, but I'll keep those in my heart because they are very near and dear to me, of the joy and the laughter I have shared with my mom over the years, especially being the only boy at home for a good part of our family's life here at the Aztec Hilton in Bucktown. So a lot of pleasurable moments, but I can't help but look at the role models that my mom and dad were for all of us. And it's just so important right now to look at that. I love the funny stories, but this is a time to kind of really think of those profound moments that we've been blessed with. I can't sum up my mom's life or my mom and dad's life with anything other than faith and family. That was their bedrock. That was the example that they didn't try and pass on to us. It just passed on because that's how they lived their life. You often hear about preaching the Gospels, and that's what they did. And sometimes they actually used the Bible for it. Their lives preached the gospel to everyone they came in contact with. We've heard, or we've read, "Blessed are those who have not seen and believe." Well, shame on any of us who cannot believe or follow their lead, because we have been shown the way, the truth, and the life by these two individuals wonderful examples and guidance through our lives. It's now our generation's time to pick up the baton and lead, teach, and show the way. And we were given some great examples. Mom and Dad, we love you. We're very proud of you for the life you've shown us and provided us, and certainly the faith that you've instilled in us. God bless you. We love you.
Hi, I'm Mark, son of Shirley's oldest daughter, Jackie. I'm here representing the Hughes family, Johnny, Brian, Mark, and Michelle. Through us, we produce 8 of Mama's great-grandchildren. Growing up in New Orleans, being one of the 52 Levy grandchildren, it often got pointed out to us, wait, you're one of the Levys. Whether it's our parents' friends or a girl from Mount Carmel, it was always a special feeling and something we were always proud of. Mama always had a big smile on her face and brought joy to everyone. In her final years, as her mind was going, she knew what was happening and went with the flow. She knew her memory wasn't there, and yet she always smiled and played along. A few years ago, I told her I'd give her $100 if she remembered my birthday. With a big smile on her face, she looked at me and said, "Your birthday? I don't know who you are." That was the epitome of Mama. Always turning the negative into a positive and making the best of any situation. My wife, Jennifer, is one of the lucky ones to be taught religion at Mount Carmel by Mama. Although my sister-in-law, Patricia, did not attend Mount Carmel, she did admit this week that for the first time in her life, after hearing all the great tributes to Mama, she wishes she would have experienced Mama's teachings at Mount Carmel. But the family values and togetherness that Mama instilled in her children will be sent down for generations to come. Her messages and teachings to us were always sincere, authentic, and genuine. She'll be greatly missed, and although she is gone, her spirit will live on through all of us. Mama, we love you and thank you for all of the life lessons, the positive effect you've had on all of us, and the shaping of this family into who we are today. Until we see each other again, Mama, we love you. Rest in peace.
All right, I am with you. All right. Hey, everybody. My name is Joe Levy. I'm the youngest son of the youngest son, Tim Levy. And just wanted to say, Mama, first of all, I have graduated high school. I know it's been a decade since you've been asking me if I've graduated, and I have. Now we're here. I just want to say, on behalf of my family, we're all going to miss you. You were very loved by everybody, and you really showed us what it means to plant your roots down in a city and stay strong. Yep.
Short and sweet, brother.
My mom was a very joyful person. When she often broke out in song and dance with the one little word would set her off. She and I often shared many times of uncontrollable giggling, from the time when I was in 8th grade and she squeezed away next to me at the communion rail to whisper in my ear, "I found your uniform. It was in the freezer," to the times that she and I worked at Hotel Dieu doing volunteer work, and they had to separate us because we giggled too much on the floor. And then she was accused of stealing a man's watch, and I thought that was actually funny when she was with security. But she and I shared a lifetime of love and laughter, and I always enjoyed her company.
She definitely lived her life as a party, and we know that it was because she was living heaven on earth, and we know she's having an everlasting party and joy right now, and we're just grateful for a life that she gave us to celebrate, and that we can continue her memories on as a party we live here on earth. Go it.
And this one, she actually named her daughter Shirley, which was for us the gift that keeps on giving, because when my mom would hear her call her name, she would look and say, "Is that child's name Shirley?" And for 2 years, we relived the joy of her hearing that child's voice.
It's a constant reminder for me of the joy that she brings to all of us every day.
And she also led by leadership. I remember how well she did of taking care of her mother. And stuck out with me, even though I was just in 4th grade when she passed away, of her whispering into Grandmommy's ears the Our Father and Hail Mary when she was towards the end of her life. And I think that leadership of taking care of her mother was passed down to her kids, and how wonderful of a job they did of taking care of her in those past few years.
When I had to sum up Mama, I would think just she put everything in God's hands. So whenever I would visit Mama with life stresses on my shoulders, I'd leave more relaxed and calm and feeling like a better person. Every time, she was just a constant reminder of what mattered. What mattered is our faith. I would visit Mama, she'd point out the simple, beautiful things in life, would break out in song and talk about God, and I'd leave knowing where it came from and knowing where to direct my eyes in life. And so for that, I'm very grateful.
We love you.
Love you.
Love you, Mom.
Oh, one more thing. Last thing. She always taught me just to have your dependence on God and how not to have confidence in yourself, but to have confidence in Him.
That's true.
All right.
That's true. All right. Thank you.
Amen.
Yay,
I
Syria.
think that was longer than 2 minutes.
Hi, I am Marie. I'm the youngest of Shirley and Dan's 11 children. I never did think this day would come for me to have to sit here and say all these wonderful things about my mother. She has been asking us for 6 years, why did Dad leave me? Why did he leave me? And now she is finally reunited with him. And is able to love on him the way that she did her entire life. I have 3 children, the youngest one, which is my mother's 53rd grandchild, who she always said was her favorite. And she cannot be with me here today and would like for me to send a special message to her grandmother. So I will go ahead and read that message from Colby. And Colby says, Mama, you have set many great examples to follow and were a great role model and a very strong woman and the best grandmother to all. I love you with all my heart and I will miss you so much. And from Brady, Mom, thank you for leaving such a lasting impact on our family and leading by example on how to raise a family through faith-centered household. I will miss you and love you. Alexis, thank you for providing me with the best family. You have taught us the true meaning of love and family and how to live the life centered around God. Please continue to watch over all of us, and especially on Michael and I on November 20th. And I wanted to share something that a friend of mine wrote on Facebook about my mother. I'm not going to mention any names because so many people wrote so many special things about her, but this one just really stuck out. And she said, Miss Levy was one of the most powerful mentors in my life. I thank God I knew her and learned so much from her, and she helped my faith grow. A beautiful mentor in my life when I was in 8th grade through high school. Miss Levy has earned her heavenly reward. She was a woman of God who shares her faith to so many. I thank God for knowing her. The legacy she leaves has ripple effects that will never end. I love you, Miss Shirley, and now you are in the arms of Mr. Dan again. Well done, good and faithful servant. I'm just going to end this with saying, I am the woman I am today because of you and Dad. And I thank you for the examples that you have set with giving me awesome brothers and sisters, who have set all the examples. And I could sit here and say so much more, but they only limited me to 2 minutes. So I love you. I'm going to miss you. Our Sound of Music days, our Music Man days, Fiddler on the Roof days. But I know that you are now up there singing and dancing in the arms of your handsome West Point cadet. I love you, Mom.
Hi, I'm Kathy. I'm Mama and Pop's fifth child, and as Mama always liked to say, I was her perfect child. So as I was sitting on my back porch this morning, trying to think of how I would describe the most amazing mom ever, I was listening to the world around me, waking from a night's sleep. And it's like, how would my mom like to say it? Oh, what a beautiful morning. Because the blue jays were squawking, the woodpeckers were pecking, and as she would say, the pine trees are growing straight up to the sky. Well, my mom loved sitting quietly and just enjoying all of God's gifts, whether it was nature, the mighty Mississippi, or just watching her grandchildren. Her joy for life was evident in everything she did. She lived her life just like all those Jesuit blue jays, ad majorem Dei gloria, for the greater glory of God. She put God first and family second. She wasn't timid about professing her faith either. Many a times when we asked questions like, well, can we do this? Or why can't we do this? She wouldn't beat around the bush. She lovingly explained the reasoning behind God's plan. She was compassionate and non-judgmental, except that is if you had dark roots and were 100 pounds overweight, but that was in her later years. She didn't just talk the talk, she walked the walk. She was led by Jesus all the way. Mom, I always wanted to thank you just for making me feel special. I know I was the only child born at West Point, and she would love to tell the story of why I was her perfect child. I won't bore y'all with that story because I know you've heard it 1,000 times. But truthfully, she made all 11 of us feel special. Her love was endless, and she was so appreciated of us taking the time away from our families just to be with her. Mom, it was our privilege to take care of you. And I thank God every day for giving you to us for an additional 6 years past Dad's passing. I got to know you as an individual and not as a couple. I discovered your sense of humor, your insistence for proper grammar, and especially your love for ice cream, which, by the way, thanks for the extra pounds I've put on because you never wanted to eat by yourself. It would have been rude. But in closing, I just want to say thank you. Thank you, thank you for giving us the roadmap to heaven by your yes to God. I love you, Mom, and I look forward to seeing you again.
Well, we certainly are living in strange times, which is why we are adapting to this format.
You need to introduce yourself.
Oh.
And then go into it. But that's
Okay.
fine. Just start over and just continue.
Okay. Hi, I'm Mike. I'm number 4, third son. We're here because we're living in some strange times right now. We under normal circumstances, without or pre-coronavirus, we'd be gathering in a funeral home or in a church somewhere to celebrate the life of Shirley Raphael Levy. And this virus is it's created a lot of let's just say it's turned our lives upside down. Some of us can't work, we can't play, we are denied simple pleasures like hugging our grandchildren. But through it all, a lot of wonderful things have come up, and one that I find very consoling is the fact that had we been gathered in a funeral home or a church, my brothers and sisters would all have their friends and their families coming and paying special testimonial to Shirley, my mother, and we wouldn't be able to hear all that. But because of social media nowadays with texting and emailing and Facebook, my brothers and sisters have shared their family and friends' testimonials, and this has just been a wonderful outpouring of love for my mother, and it's something that it's the silver lining in this whole cloud. So I'd like to tell you just a special story about my mother with my family. Quite a few years ago, I was telling my mother about a family vacation we were about to go on, and I was telling her that we were going to take our minivan and clear out the seats and throw the kids in the back and let them sprawl out on sleeping bags, and we were driving to Cherokee, North Carolina to go tent camping and whitewater rafting. Well, my mother thought that was just an incredible adventure, and she asked if she could go along, which of course I said yes. Now, I had to go home and convince my wife that her mother-in-law was going to go on a family vacation with us. Believe it or not, Darnell accepted it enthusiastically, so we all set out on this wonderful trip. My children got to know their grandmother so well because of the countless stories of how she met her future love of her life, how he proposed to her in Times Square in New York, how she was pregnant for Jackie and she took a ship to Europe to meet Pops in Germany in post-World War II. And my children just love those stories. They came away learning a lot of new songs like Chattanooga Choo Choo and Nothing Could Be Finer Than to Be in Carolina. One special story that my kids do remember about that trip, other than the whitewater rafting where my mother almost fell out of the raft, but that's a separate issue. We were hiking in the Smoky Mountains, and my mother had this infectious laugh that when she laughed, everybody around you laughed. Well, in this particular case, she kept laughing and she started passing gas. and the more she did, the more she laughed, and the more my children laughed, and she just kept passing gas. And so my kids remember that to this day. It's just one of the great special moments. Sorry, Mom, that we have to have this recorded for all time. But let me conclude by saying this. Getting back to this coronavirus that we're going through right now. A lot of sad stories out there. A lot of people are passing away alone. They're in nursing homes and hospitals. Their families can't visit them. They can't see them. They can't tell them they love them. They can't say goodbye. Shirley passed away with what I call our steel magnolias. My 7 sisters were there with her. Jackie and Kathy, Peggy, Shirley, and of course the 3 little ones, Terry, Dana, Marie. I was not able to be there to say goodbye, but the fact that you 7 were there, holding her hand and saying the rosary with her when she passed is just extremely comforting. And I can't tell you how much it means to all of us that you guys were there in the last minutes, the last hours. You guys took care of her for the last years of her life. And yes, the boys were there to help too, but you guys are the heart and soul of this family. And I just can't tell you how much I love you all. So, Shirley, we love you. Goodbye. You're now up in heaven with Dad. And Dad, I hope she hasn't driven everybody crazy up there by singing the Jesuit fight song over and over again. So, love you guys, and I know we'll see you again at some point in the future.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jackie. I'm the oldest of the 11. I'd like to talk about what my mother meant to me and in my life. Everybody's, I know, talking about the religious aspect of what she meant to them. That was a very important part of her being and my father's being and what they wanted to impart on us. But I'm going to talk about some of the fun things about Mama. I was born in Germany. Pops was stationed over there, so the first three of us were born over there. I could go on about a lot of stories about Mama, but she left me alone a lot because she would go cross-country skiing, and she left me with the German maid, her husband, and 2 dogs, the maid's husband. And she would cross-country ski and go down to go visit her husband at his army headquarters on the border of Constantinople in Germany after World War II. Fast forward, we come to West Point. I was 6, 7, and 8 years old. She was in charge of the plays. I don't know whether they called it Philharmonic Society at West Point, but all the Broadway plays would open up at West Point before they opened up on Broadway. And so she would take me at this young age. I got to see Oklahoma, South Pacific, and Carousel. And that is what started me on my love of Broadway plays, which I have now instilled. My children didn't get it from me, but my grandchildren got it. And to this day, I have had this love of plays. She enjoyed life. I think I got that from her. I'm a party animal, just like she was. She left me alone a lot at West Point. They would go to Army football games and leave us in the nursery. And I lost my first tooth alone in bed taking care of my 2 younger brothers in a nursery while they were on a bus trip on an Army football game, drinking and partying on a bus. But that was my parents. Enjoyed life to the fullest, but still preached faith and family and how important all that was to them. And now we are imparting that on our children and our grandchildren. It's hard to put everything in this small little capsule of time that this lady has meant to me, to my family, and to the world. My grandkids have talked to me, my kids have talked to me about their friends that had her as teachers, as a religion teacher at Mount Carmel, and how they have, what she meant to them and their lives. A few of them even in their senior yearbook picture, when the caption asks, who had the most influence in your life? And several of my kids' friends have said they put Shirley Levy. And that was Shirley Levy and what she meant to the Mount Carmel community, to the Levy family and the extended Levy family, and to all the in-laws. And just a side note, my husband died a month ago, and I feel like she is passing him on the steps and taking his hand and taking him up there with her. He adored her, and there was nobody else in the world he would let bless him except Mama. Thank you.
Very good. Okay, all right, thank you. Hi, I'm Kelly, Peggy and Ricky Cirio's daughter. Peggy's number 6. I am just here to express my gratitude to Mama for all of her yeses to God. If it wasn't for her continuous yeses to God, her fiat in imitation of Our Lady, I wouldn't be here, my mom wouldn't be here, and so many people that I love and cherish dearly wouldn't be here. I know that sometimes it wasn't always easy for her to continuously say yes, but she did because she loved God above all things. And I'm so grateful for the faith that she has given us, the faith that she has instilled in our family. Whenever I would go to Mama and ask for her to ask God for a special intention, because I knew that she had special connections, she would always tell me, pray for God's will. Just pray for His will. And that has always, that's something that's always going to stick with me. She always sought God's will in everything that she did. And we can just tell that that joy within her from living one with the Trinity has just poured over into her life, into the life of all those people that she's come in contact with. And one thing that I'm so grateful for is that on her deathbed, I just got to thank her for who she was. I got to thank her for all of her yeses. I got to thank her for being who she was and the 94 years of just living a life in totality for God. And even though I know that if I could live the exact same life that she did, that's just what I would want, but I know that's not what Mama would necessarily want for me. I know that Mama wants me to live the life that God wants me to live. Not necessarily in replica of exactly having 11 kids, but of exactly of what His call is in my life. So I'm just here to express my gratitude. And if I have a memory for Mama, when I was working at Rock and Bowl, because I was saving my money to go to Medjugorje, my first paycheck I splurged on Mama. I love going to have tea at the Winter Court, and I wanted to take Mama. So I took her and I saved up just enough money to where I could afford, the basic tea party together. Well, Mama saw that there was another tea party we could go to where it included not just tea, but sherry. So she introduced me to a new kind of tea party that day, and I will never forget it. I'm so glad that I had that moment to cherish with her. And just one more thing, the last gift that I'm grateful for is the gift of the rosary. She has instilled in me and our family a love for the Blessed Mother, a love for the rosary. I know in the middle of the night, she would tell me her angel would kick her out of bed and ask her to start praying the rosary. And the next morning, she would call me and say, what were you doing at 3 o'clock in the morning? Why was I praying for somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning? And I would always blame Michelle. But so, Mama, I'm so grateful for your prayers. I'm grateful for your yeses. I'm grateful for the family that you have blessed me with. And you will always live on in the hearts and the lives of all of your loved ones. And may your life continue to bear fruit. I love you.
Okay. Hi, I'm Therese. I am Mama's 7th daughter, Shirley's youngest daughter. And this is a letter from the Dupre family to Mama. Dear Mama, it says a lot about you and the way you lived your life, that when asked to recollect qualities and instances of you that we love most, each of our family members had trouble narrowing down their list. The virtue that was shown and the impact that you had on each of us was just that, overwhelming and constant. You lived your life of 94 years as a wife, a mother, and a witness to the idea of implicit and dedicated trust in God's plan. As you would frequently joke, you just couldn't believe that you actually had 11 children, who would then give you 52 grandchildren and more than 87 great-grandchildren, with more on the way. With both your offspring under your feet and your 25 years as a teacher at Mount Carmel under your belt,
You had limitless pupils on which to impart, imprint, and impact. We could talk for hours of all the qualities that endeared you to people. We are Levy grandchildren after all. However, as only you could, you taught all of us two qualities particularly that deserve praise: your ever-present joy and your abundant love. Mama, to you, life was a musical. You rarely were without a song on your lips. You marched to the beat of your own drum, and you were always looking for others with which to share the stage and sing along. Countless refrains of Oklahoma, the Mount Carmel, and the Jesuit fight song echoed through our house. You always were at your happiest in the middle of a chorus, with the twinkle of mischief and playfulness in your eyes as you sang the next note. Whenever it was someone's birthday, you could count on the high point of the day always being your and Pops' over-the-top Broadway rendition of Happy Birthday, complete with jazz hands for every you at the end. You relished the chance to share in our accomplishments or successes, and no one was happier than you when we would recount to you the latest going on in our lives. That music, that light, that joy for life that came with every note is something that struck us deeply in our lives. Your joy was a source of your strength, and you let your light shine for all to see. The liveliness of family gatherings, the jokes, the hugs, the humor, all of it is a testament to your joy that you infused into the very roots of our family. Just as you could make any word or phrase into a song, you always believed that God could make good come out of any struggle or challenge. This unwavering fidelity to God's plan, with that ever-present smile, was a witness we will never forget. And for that, we are forever thankful. Mama, your capacity for joy was matched only by your capacity to love. Despite more than 100 grand and great-grandchildren, no one could ever say they did not feel loved by you. Each of us were loved specifically and uniquely. Because of that love, we always looked at your home on Aztec as magical, a place where we could both climb the magnolia tree in the backyard, only to then climb on the kitchen bar stool for a slice of apple pie for breakfast. It was a refuge where we could be built up, renewed, and sent back out into the world. We always looked forward to your visits to our homes, where we could be enveloped by your compassion and attention while you sipped your sherry wine, or at times Welch's white grape juice. Your 3 a.m. rosaries and noon Angelus recitations made it clear your example and understanding of love was rooted in Mary, our mother. Your special relationship with her colored your understanding of motherhood, and that understanding has been imprinted on each of our families. Rarely will a night go by without repeating your "Jesus bless this sweet girl," or "Jesus bless this sweet boy." Blessings and prayers to our own children. You truly were an instrument of God's love, pouring out on everyone you surrounded. These two qualities, joy and love, were at their purest and their most clear in your relationship with Pops. None of us can think of one of you without the other. You two are forever entwined as a result of your promise, your yes to each other and to God. Because of you two, your legacy of faith and family will never fade, and your example of what love really is will never be forgotten. It's said you judge a tree by the fruit it bears. Much like the grapefruit or lemon trees in your backyard, the family tree you two nurtured and cared for has borne much fruit, and we have you two to thank. Each of our 11 reflected on the question, how did Mama make you feel? And each of us felt the same way. A warmth spread in our heart, a smile creeped up on our lips, and a spark of joy ignited in our souls. We truly were loved. As you depart from us, we take comfort in the image of you, being greeted by Jesus, his arms outstretched, saying to you, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." And we take comfort in the image of you, being greeted by Pops, his arms around your shoulder, saying to you, one more time, "Good work, babe." We too love you, Mama, Love the Do Pray kids.